This week on the UK Brewery Project, I'm in Wood Green at the Goodness Brewing Company. The Goodness Brewing Company's origin story starts in 2010. So friends Damien Legg, Mike Sterling and Zach Ahmed were keen home brewers, and they were based in Harringay, which is in North London. And towards the end of the year they decided to launch a community hop growing collective, which they named the Wood Green Hop In. This was one of several community hop collectives in the London area, and how it works is members would each grow one or two English dwarf varieties of hops, meaning they grow to about 7 feet tall because they were dwarf hop varieties. The hops are then all harvested on the same weekend in September, and members will bring them to a collection point. The hops are then used to make a beer. For their first collection of hops in September 2016, they collected them in a local park from all the members, and they had quite a whole of a variety of different hops. The trio then brewed this beer in a local brew pub, which is the Prince in Wood Green, and 4 weeks later they bottled a certain amount of the beer and handed these out to members, while the rest went on sale in a few local pubs, including the Prince itself. Money from the sales in the pubs helped pay for the brewing time, bottling, and most importantly the purchasing of hop plants and equipment to get more members growing hops. The beer is still brewed each year, with the current name of the brew being Wood Green Hopping City. I don't have one of these as they're only out in October, and they're a green hop beer. What I should do instead is I'm going to have a Love Supreme, which is one of their big beers. So I'm just going to take a smell of this. Now, it's been waiting around a while. I do apologise, it's taking me time to set up. I'm at the actual brewery. The brewery's just straight ahead of me. I was trying to take it that way, but there's other people that way, so I've struggled. So I've had to settle with a tower block coming behind me instead. It's very pale. You're not probably getting the good light on this one, but it's hazy. It's like a milkshakey hazy. And it's good. That is good. That is good. That is good. Oh, that hits the spot. That really hits the spot. One thing I just want to sort of cover is I mentioned the word about the previous the Hop City brewing. It's green hop. So the term green hop may not be familiar with a lot of people. So the way to explain it is that most hops are actually dried before they're used in the brew, but green hop is the process of taking the fresh hops, well, fresh and wet hops I should say, and adding these direct into the brew. So these fresh hops, they would add the hop oil in more than you would get in a dried hop, and this is why they would get the members to pick them on that weekend, so they get that fresh hopness, or hop oil I should say. So in year 2 of the collective, they had actually managed to gather some sponsorship from local businesses, and even managed to put planters out, get planters installed in some public spaces and train stations. And they had 2 more friends join, which was John Shees Green and Oliver Newbury, get that right. So yeah, they were expanding in the sense of not brewing, but getting people to be into that hop collective. Now, where it comes down to time on this, I'm not too certain, but I will try to explain what I understand timeline is based on what I've read, but this could be wrong. So during 2018 they travelled up to Sheffield to do their first commercial brews, and I believe the first of which was their Yest beer, which is their main beer. Unfortunately, it's not available, not on can or tap. But Yes Beer is the first one they've done, and this is when I believe they first came across their Goodness Brewing Company brand name they've then used. They created the Yes with they dry hopped. Well, actually, they said they dry hopped with 4 different hops, but included a hop I've never heard of before. A style of hop, which is the cryo hop. So the cryo hop is the process of freezing a hop with liquid nitrogen, and then what they do is after they've frozen it, they take out the glands of the hop, which is the bitterness glands, so that they have removed the bitterness from it. So they dry hop it without adding any bitterness to the beer. So the idea of the Yes beer that they do should be a very, very low bitterness beer. And I've got a beer on my side here, one of their other beers, that I'm going to bring in a second. You can see it right now. I'm just going to hide it slightly a bit better. At this stage, we could say they were a cuckoo brewery. The trio themselves wanted to bring the brewing back closer to home, and I understand they started brewing briefly in the disused brewery at the back of the Florence pub in Herne Hill. Pub. I think it's worthwhile covering a little bit about the Florence pub here, actually. So Tony Lennon, who played a key role in setting up the Euston tap, obviously in Euston, had bought the pub in 2007 and installed an 8 hectolitre brewery in that pub. In November 2010, Peter Hayden, who had been involved in setting up Meantime Brewery, started brewing there on a sort of profit-sharing basis. In 2010, the pub was sold to Green King, but they allowed brewing to continue with Peter. In 2012, Peter bought the brewing kit and paid rent there to remain there. In 2015, Peter retired and then sold that equipment to Green King, who then in 2016 used it intermittently, important word, to brew beers for their craft academy. So by 2018, the brewing had stopped, and this is where the lads, I understand, came onto the brewing equipment. Though I think my timelines might be wrong here, and it could have been that prior to Sheffield, they brewed there, but I don't know exactly. I think it may have been based on that timescale after, either with Peter or just after. I'm not too sure. Either way, they didn't remain long up in Sheffield. They came back to London, and they were working on building their brewery in a warehouse back in their homeland of Wood Green. In August 2018, they opened a container bar just outside their new brewery site that they had obtained, though the brewery was, as I say, yet to be built. I can see by September 2018, Goodness were now brewing back in the Prince Pub in Wood Green after the previous brewery using it, called House Brewing, had left. Goodness Brewing remained there until their purpose-built brew was completed in May 2019. So, with regards to their brewery themselves, they installed a 15 hectolitre Chinese-built brew house and had 30 hectolitre fermenters installed. They also commissioned the building of a bar and pizza kitchen in 2018, April time, and the brewery, of course, was built with their own canning line. As stated, the sort of brewery opened in May 2019 roughly, and had a large indoor space, plenty of room for expansion, and a large outside yard here for hosting events in the warmer weather, including very kid-friendly or family-friendly events with bouncy castles and all. But I bet they wouldn't let me on with a pint at that stage, I guarantee you. They also hold events with other local breweries, and they seem very involved in the local community and promoting pubs, food venues, and of course breweries in the area. I should say at this stage, I think my first beer from them was when I actually heard of them, and it was in September 2019 when I went to the London Brewers Alliance in the Fuller's Brewery. So I arrived there and I seen a stall with them, and I was like, I did not know there was a brewery in Wood Green. So after speaking with the lads, I then paid a visit in October, and I had the Heatwave, which is American IPA. I also believe I had Yes, but I don't seem to have logged that on Untapped. But yeah, I think I did have, as say, Yes at that stage. So I don't have Yes. I've only got 2 of their beers, and I don't have any labelling. I do apologise. Completely different UK Brewery Project. Probably this is the way it'll be when I'm allowed in other breweries. I'm just going to have another sip of their... Oh, that's a good beer. Right, this is their lager, and I'm going to have to put a thing on the side because I cannot remember what it was. It's still got slow rising carbonation even after about 20-30 minutes of me trying to get set up and set up audio and everything. Oh, it's been a nightmare. But yeah, it's a lager. It's yeah, there's not much to it. It's not got much flavour. I'm doing something that seems weird. Camera's going to rock slightly because I preferred beer, and I'm using the pint glass to half pint glass to hold up the other beer. So this is their session IPA, and again the name will be on the side right now, so I can't remember. Oh yeah, that's better. A lot more flavour than that lager. And it's a lager. Lager's not meant to have the outstanding flavour. It's supposed to be simple and easy at that stage, which is what lager is. So I don't get me wrong, that's a lager. Now, I'm going to sound bad. During lockdown, I haven't ordered from this brewery at all. I mean, all the way from the first lockdown in April. And they are, I think, officially my closest brewery, which sounds bad. And what sort of brought me here was, I understand from a recent BBC breakfast interview they'd done earlier this month, they said they nearly went under at Christmas and their bank balance is pretty much empty, and they're desperate to get cash flow coming through their business and reopening of their, tap room and the pubs so they can sell to them. So that's why I'm here, to sort of appreciate and support the recent, the breweries at this stage. One thing I must say is their recent Instagram post about the reopening of pubs being very, very good. I very much enjoyed them. Very interesting, laughable, quite funny, but that's good marketing, but marketing doesn't equal, let's say, money or turnover for business. And based on, it's a Tuesday here. I've got a group of 6 over there, a group of 4 over there, and a group of 2 that just arrived, and there's plenty more room in this bar area, and they definitely deserve and need more of it. It's not the best of weather, but I really, really do hope that the weather remains good for all pubs and breweries out there, so they can get as many punters in whilst it's an outdoor only sort of venue. They do have an indoor area here, but indoors are not permitted. They also have a sort of pizzeria in a sense that they do as well, and there's plenty of room inside for expanding that brewery. So let's sort of hit on their core beers now while I can. So the core beers, I've mentioned Yes, which is a 4.5% session IPA, which was their first brew, if you exclude the seasonal Wood Green Hoppin' City green beer. So the first beer actually under their name is the Yes, otherwise it's that Wood Green Hoppin' City that I mentioned. We have Sunset, which is a 4.7% red ale. Shout Out, which is the only beer they have in can right now, which is the oatmeal stout at 4.1%. I've had it before. They have Sunshine, which is their 4.7% Kolsch beer, which is the one that I was trying to remember the name of. Yeah, Sunshine, which is propping up my camera right now. And they have Heatwave, which is a 4.2% IPA. And I cannot remember what this one is. That's Sunshine. That's Love Supreme. This is no idea. I cannot remember. As I said, Love Supreme is their double dry hopped IPA. It's 6.4%, and it's sort of a seasonal. They've produced some seasonal special beers, such as the green beer that I mentioned, and they also have and they don't have it, I really wish they did, they had a cherry stout called Big Up. Oh, that sounded really good. Award wise, I've not been able to find anything, but the thing is, they're young and perhaps they're not entering competitions, or maybe they are and they're not winning, I don't know. They're not entering competitions, and I can understand why breweries would not want to enter. I understand entirely. I could understand why breweries enter. I understand both sides of it. But from my point of view, I can't see any award history, although they may have won or may not have ever applied for award, I don't know. That is looking a lovely sky above me. I will, although the umbrella above me is rocking, you can see it slightly. This is their sunshine, wasn't it? I said, yeah. Blooming lovely. And this is my first UK brewery project on location. Been a bit difficult, had a nightmare setting it up, but hope you enjoyed, and I'll see you on the next one, which won't be on location, I guarantee you that.